Yo ho ho, and a very Merry Christmas to one and all. I think when I was doing this stuff before, I put it on lying on the floor in my workshop. 2 degrees Celsius outside. Really dry. So it's beautiful weather. Boxing Day. Very Merry Christmas to the lot of you. I hope you had a wonderful time. I certainly did. Ate, drank, made merry. Ate rather a lot, and I drank rather a lot. So I don't know if I mentioned when I was doing sort of a last series of these videos that I was considering, there's my legs, what's the most you ever see of your uncle's dog, that I was going to write a book called Rust and my relationship with it. Because I've had plenty of practice in this old man with Rust. So I come down today, maybe about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Basically because I was so hungover, I was paranoid to drive before 3 o'clock. And I've did another bit of chopping and digging, and anybody doing this stuff. What you buy a panel, you think you're going to weld that panel on, it turns out there's nothing to weld onto, so the amount of ancillary work, the amount of preparation is absolutely insane. So in the sill, there's a big hole down here. There's another one where my foot is, or there's rusty steel behind that. Now, I don't want to chop that out because I'll show you just now, there's nothing left of this, what did we call it last time, a footwell? There's nothing left of this footwell. To chop out all the rust, there's basically nothing left. Would you see this? Right. So, the camera's not picking that up, is it? That's the behind the front wheel. When I put my fingers up inside this, there's no rust. I've actually managed to cut it all out. This will have to be cut out, but again, because of the amount of steel I've cut out, there's maybe 3 or 4 inches of metal. They're holding the whole door together, and I'm paranoid to cut that out and the body shape changes. So today's little bit of Zambo fabrication, I made that. It looks rough, but trust me, when I get a bit of fiberglass and some filler in there, I can get that looking bang on, and there's more work to be done. So it does look really rough, but really strong. So that section sits in along here. That needs welded in. There's a bit at the front that needs welded in. Once I've got all that done, and there's a bit of structural strength back with the live Zambo cam, we all know and love it, and there's a bit of structural strength in there, I'll cut out this section at the bottom and replace as much of that as I can. Now, this bit here, so I'll give you a look at that. This section here, that was all rusted out as well. So what I've did is I've fabricated another piece of steel, which will sit up behind that. I'll lay top it and get an idea what we're planning. So there we go. That's going to get welded in behind that bit of steel. There's more to get cut out. That should line up there. The little repair section goes in. Cut that out. Now, all this work, I'm going to start waggling my finger. Wiggling. All that work was so I could put this aftermarket behind it. So it just goes to show, you buy these things and you think, right, I'll just go and scalp that on. Doesn't happen like that. There's nothing to scalp it onto. My universal rust finding technique is to run my fingers behind the piece of metal. So another maybe 10 mils going to have to come off all the way along that. That's all rusted out to hell. But as I said earlier on, I don't want to cut too much out in case the van actually bends. It's built in a chassis, but you never know the damage you could do. So there we go. My landlord doesn't want me welding inside the building, which is sensible really. If this old thing went fire, got a headache with it. So I'm going to fabricate up the panels. Wait for a nice day. As I say, the weather today, it was freezing cold, but it wasn't raining in Scotland. That's always a bonus. And by the time I get these bits put back in here, that should give me enough strength to cut out this bit. So, like everything else, you know, these little fabricated things, they just take a long time. I think it's a hobby for me. By nature, I'm quite a hyperactive guy. So there's no way of rushing it. Imagine if you had a commercial body shop and you're in a rush to get accident repairs out the door and stuff. They'd have real fast ways of doing this, but just me on my own learning about it. My skills have increased amazingly over the past 6 months or so. So just a little update. Wish you all a Merry Christmas from the Black Hole of Calcutta. I actually checked that out online. That was a horrible story. Some Indians captured some British soldiers and British dignitaries and put them in a black hole and they all died. So maybe I should stop using that analogy. So what am I going to say? Merry Christmas. 4 or 5 hours into today. As I say, if the weather gets better tomorrow, I'll drive the van outside and weld all this stuff in. I think I've made enough repair sections. Now that one there, you can see the rust behind that. That's getting cut out. However, this aftermarket panel goes all the way up to about there. So that's a no-brainer. How am I going to get into... There's a universal message, and it's not Merry Christmas. How am I going to get in behind it to weld it? I really have not thought that far into it yet. I think it's going to be a van jacked up in its front and back wheels, me lying here. That's another thing about welding. It's not been in focus at all. That's another thing about welding, you know. Welding is pieces of molten metal, burning holes in your trousers, running up to the sleeves in your jacket, and welding hurts. It's good fun, it's real dangerous. I'm not very good at it. The positions you have to get yourself into to get to the bits you need are, you'd have to be a bit of a contortionist. So that's 7 minutes of me talking about van rubbish. So when this stuff goes in as well, that whole step section should be able to get in. But again, I'm going to be spending hours underneath that van. I don't know how much time I've put into this already, maybe 10 hours or so. So for a guy like me that's not skilled up, I would say that was 2 or 3 days worth of work. But when it's done, I think just about all the lower steel in the van's been replaced. And when we look back on it, everything from the front all the way to the back is now solid as a rock. So at some point, if I keep chipping away at it, and that's key, isn't it? These projects fly about and you forget about them, other things appear and you can't do them into what you want to. First day, was that the first day? 8 minutes? 4 seconds? When you got a project like this, the coronavirus and the impending capitalist doom that I had with the workshop meant I really couldn't touch a thing for ages. However, I would recommend, if you get a project, put aside a Sunday for it, put aside a Monday or a Tuesday night or something, try to do something every week. These little jobs take a lot of time. I mean, that's going to be massive when it's finished. The amount of replaced steel in that area of the van, it'll just be fantastic, but it does take a lot of time. It's a great hobby for, as I say, guys like myself who I'm always in a rush to do stuff. You can't rush it. Every time you cut a piece of steel, another piece of steel, it's so badly corroded that it's back to the anvil with the rammers. Right, so I had a fantastic Christmas, even during these terrible times. Spent a lot of time with my wife and my kid lying on the sofa. I ate cheese. Most of my diet this year has been plant-based. I'm just about borderline vegan. I know Gav Irvin, Shug, he loves old vegans. But this year don't think I've ate very much. Maybe 2% of my diet's been anything to do with dairy. The rest has been plant-based. And I feel quite good for that, you know. However, over the Christmas period, my goodness, it was just cheese fest. Don't think I've ever ate as much cheese in my entire life. It was quite good fun, but I think come with January, come with sobriety, and the cheese gets put back into the cheese cupboard. Right, so it's hard to choose which one of my videos is the worst. This one's up there. Right, thank you very much for watching another riveting episode of the old Zamdog Television. Filmed in beautiful Techni Zambo colour. Right, Take care, all. Very, very, very Merry Christmas to you. Let's hope 2021 there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because 2020 was just bonkers, absolutely nuts. Right. See you all later. Bye.